Hi, I'm Steve Shore of Steve Shore Insurance and Health Reform Quotes.com. We had a website visitor today ask us about if there's an asset test for covered California subsidies or Medi Cal qualification. No, there isn't. However, we're thorough and we don't give answers off the top of our head. We research everything because who knows when something's going to change, or if you're in that 1/10 of 1% that maybe it won't apply to you. And whether it does or not, the bottom line is you want to get coverage to take care of any issues that comes up. So we're going to go over that in this video, and all the links will be at the bottom of the YouTube video and on our website where we responded in the written portion. So on our webpage, on where we explain modified adjusted gross income, and that's a whole different question. But anyways, we had a lady whose husband is losing his well-paid job and presumably the insurance too if he had it. Well, he must have if she's worried about it. And she earns around $12,000 a year. She's worried about healthcare coverage since they have 2 children and she's pregnant. Her question is they have a ton of money in various bank accounts. Is there an asset test in covered California or Medi Cal like there was pre-Obamacare or healthcare reform? The simple answer is there's no asset test for MAGI based subsidies on covered California Medi Cal qualification. So let's go into that. I already have that on my Medi Cal website, no asset test, and somewhere the citation for that disappeared. So I'm going to update that on the Medi Cal website. Agents don't get paid for Medi Cal. It's a public service. And, well, we won't go into that. So the best thing I found is the Western publication for poverty law, because it goes into so much more detail than I get from covered California. I wish they used this to teach us something instead of the lousy PowerPoints. So anyways, right here, it says there's no asset test. And this publication is Getting and Keeping Health Coverage for Low-Income California, and a guide for advocates. It's 4 years old, but near as I can tell, it's still up to date. And, California Healthcare Foundation. I'm not sure what the income your husband was making, and I'm not sure on unemployment benefits, but unemployment income will probably keep you out of Medi Cal. And also, well, we'll get into how much might be in subsidies. So, well, if you're losing the job this week, today's December 1st, so you're going to have coverage, or you should have coverage at least till the end of the month. So in January, when they ask for your income, it's not what you made $100,000 last year, or whatever you made. It's what you expect to make, in the beginning of the year. So it's what you make in the beginning of the year. So January 1st, you can qualify for Medi Cal because they have a monthly income thing. So yeah, you could qualify for Medi Cal, on their monthly basis. But as soon as you get a job and you're mandated to report that within 30 days. So with Covered California, you're mandated to report changes within 30 days. With Medi Cal, it's within 10 days. Now, if you're making a ton of money, I imagine that you're not going to just sit home twiddling your thumbs. You're resourceful. And like Hillary Clinton told agents back in her day, She was sure that the bright agents were going to find another job in this economy. So, when you find another job, you got to report that. So unemployment does count. Here's the chart that you're looking at, based on whatever income you might make. So let's see, you said you had husband, wife, 2 kids, the pregnancy count. So you got 6 kids. If you're making less than, say, 50,000, the parents will be on Medi Cal. If you're making less than 100,000, the kids can be on Medi Cal. And this chart isn't all that easy to use. And so we'll get into where you can use my quote engine, put in the estimated income. You can play with the numbers and see where you're going to be. We only get compensated if you get coverage through us. I mean, it would be nice if Covered California paid me a salary for, putting up this website. And in my opinion, it's 10 times better than theirs, because at least I'll show you a citation where it says it in the law. And, Covered California, there's a case where they gave the wrong advice. The guy had to give back like $12,000 in subsidies. The administrative law judge said he wished he could force them to pay it, but he didn't have that authority. I've got malpractice insurance. Covered California requires that I have it. So I guess the burden is less and I don't have government immunity. So anyways, that aside, here's the chart and it's expected income. So, go look for a job and stay off these subsidies. It's a pain in the butt. I'll get into that too. So here we're talking about if you make too much money for Medi Cal, they'll send you a cancellation notice. That'll give you an open enrollment. So you're not going to lose coverage, because they'll give you because that'll be a special enrollment period so you can get new coverage. My website's pretty big, so a lot of stuff I just go through and Google it to find it easily. So if you're pregnant, getting into Medi Cal is easier. And if you want more details, check this page. I don't think it'll really apply to you. Now, I had this second page in here because if you look at the Covered California application, I'll grant you it's hard to look at it because it's online and they don't really have a paper copy. But the Covered California application doesn't ask for assets. It's asked for projected income. So I get a lot of people asking me, well, gee, last year I made $500,000. How do I show to them, what's going to be next year? Well, just show it to them. I can't tell you how because I don't know the specific details. But for one, show them the termination letter. Anyways, I went and cut and pasted all the things that they ask you about income. And personally, I wouldn't fill out everything because all it does is get screwed up. Just put in your bottom line, income, because when you file your taxes at the end of the year, that's all they care about. So at the end of the year, which would be 2021 for you, you would fill out the premium tax credit 8962, which gets attached to your to your 1040. Now, the problem I foresee for you is, let's say you go 6 months and you get all these subsidies. Well, then if at the last 6 months you get a job, and where's my income chart? You get a job and let's say you're making $500,000 a year now, and then you get a job in June and you make more than $200,000, and it can depend. You got to work with the quote engine I'll show you later. But if you make more than $200,000, you're going to have to give back all of the subsidies that they got you. There's no free lunch, So You may go in there at the January 1st and say, well, we're making zero. Well, if you're making zero, you're going to have beyond Medi-Cal. If you're making, so you're going to be on Medi-Cal unless you think you're going to be able to get another job. You got to play with these numbers here and see. But my point is, if you make too much money, you're going to have to give back all your subsidies. So, that's why they require that you report changes on Medi-Cal within 10 days and 30 days for Covered California. And I have it secondhand, but one of the employees for one of my employer groups had some problem where the wife didn't report her job, and they made a federal case about it, and they said, you're banned from Medi-Cal forever. And I thought, what are they talking about? But I looked it up, and you can go to jail and stuff for all that. So when you use our quote engine, and there'll be a link to it, you just put in your zip code, how many people, what you expect your income to be. And it's real simple. The only personal thing we ask is your email address. And if you don't like the number of emails you get, you can always opt out. But in my opinion, this quote engine is 10 times better than Covered California's because, for one, you can play with it. It saves your information. You can't really enroll on Covered California with it. You have to call us, and then we'll do the enrollment. So once you've done that, here we've got a sample. And, this is just a sample. But you can go in here on the exchange, and you can buy from Covered California, even no matter how much money you make. So when people say I qualify for Covered California, no, virtually everybody does. What they mean is whether you qualify for subsidies based on your income. And I just showed you the income chart. So Covered California has a lot of plans here, and a lot of these are companies that, I never heard of before because they were just doing Medi-Cal. But now, Medi-Cal is so prevalent. 1/3 of Californians are on Medi-Cal. So anyways, let's look at the proposal. Now, what's nice about my proposal is right here where it says 200,000 and it shows no subsidies. These are, this is just what it is. And then if you put your mouse over it, it'll show you how many people are covered. So if you're doing a Medi-Cal quote and the kids are on Medi-Cal, you got to make sure when you look here that the kids aren't there because they're on Medi-Cal, so you don't have to pay them. But you take the 3 people here, and if you drop the income, say, to, let's say 50,000. Then it shows, what you get in monthly subsidy. And this is what I'm talking. Well, this child is over 19, so he would, get it. But you gotta watch that there. So let's say you make 80,000. And that shows your subsidy going down. And then let's say you only make 25,000. Okay, and that shows you with no subsidy again because it's all Medi-Cal. So that's really the way to know. And, please no phone calls to ask me this. Use the quote engine. And then I don't know where my picture went. Well, for some reason, oh, there it is. So, anyways, use the quote engine, play with the numbers. Um, I'm a guy that prefers email rather than people calling me. The commissions in Covered California are very slim, and in Medi Cal, none. Um, that's where I was Googling to find something. Let's see, we already went over this, the questions on income, and just put in the bottom line. You know, we'll get to that. So in January, you would be able to qualify for Medi Cal, even if you know that in February you've got a job going to make $1 million a year, because Medi Cal will go by, monthly. The question is do you really want to be on Medi Cal? Because you can always buy the coverage and just pay for it. Here's the page again on how to report changes to Covered California. And then, if I didn't already mention it, here's the form you fill out at the end of the year, and, for what your subsidies are. So, you could take no subsidies and just get a tax credit. If you take subsidies, but then you make too much money, you'll give it back on your taxes. So just email me, if you have any other questions, or put it at the bottom of every page on our website. You can ask questions right there. Just scroll to the bottom, and we're happy to help. Thanks a lot.